Live from beautiful sunny Southern California, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the 2018 Heroes of the Dorm Bracket Reveal Show.
Welcome to Heroes of the Dorm.
Give it up for your Heroes of the Dorm!
The court is going down. It's going to be
These are your final teams.
They are your Heroes of the Dorm!
Welcome to the 2018 Heroes of the Dorm Bracket Reveal Show. 64 teams, 64 journeys, 64 sets of protagonists, and it's all come down to this moment. My name is Albert Halloran Haley III, and it's my pleasure to be on the desk once again with the man himself, Dunktree. How you doing, good sir?
Oh man, doing so good here. Finally at the bracket stage. These teams are going to be kicking each other out of the tournament every match from here on out, man. This is where the tension starts to rise.
It's just heating up now. Hundreds of teams from all across the United States and Canada battled it out. Only 64 remain, but let's see where we've been and get a look at where we're going. We started out with 5 weeks of intense regular season action and the regional playoffs set up the big dance at the round of 64. But the challenge for the remaining teams just lies ahead because right after that, they've got the round of 32.
Absolutely, and it keeps getting more difficult from there. All of these are elimination matches. That means any loss and you are out of the tournament, and no team wants that. They're all here because they're looking for the big prize. They want to go to the end.
This is a huge moment for all these teams. They've been practicing for months, some for years. They've been in preceding years of Heroes of the Dorm. Everything coming down to a final best of 3 could be rough, but the heroic 4, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. We're going to be at the Blizzard Arena, the house that Warcraft built, Saturday, May 12th. You want to get your tickets now because this is going to be an incredible moment. But this would not be Heroes of the Dorm without the perennial return of the Bracket Challenge, where the #1 person is going to come away with $10,000. But Dunk, we're doing it big this year.
Oh yeah, man. In addition to the regular bracket challenge, there's also the ultimate bracket challenge. If you get a perfect bracket, it's going to be worth $1 million.
That is absolutely insane. If you get the perfect bracket, you come away with $1 million. The contest opens up on the 21st. You want to be there and ready. Enter by March 27th. You get that perfect bracket, $1 million is not too shabby at all. If you want to get all the information that you need, be sure to head over to heroesofthedorm.com where you'll keep track of the bracket, of the stats of all the remaining teams, because the action only increases from here.
Absolutely, and we could not have done this without the coordination from the fine folks over at TESPA. You can catch them at tespa.org to perhaps found a local chapter if there isn't one, or connect with your local chapter. Additionally, if you just want to keep up with college esports, you can catch them at Team TESPA on Twitter.
But this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Without any further ado, let's invite you to the full view of the bracket. And Dunk, I feel like this is actually going to be the most difficult one to predict out of the 4 years we've had at Heroes of the Dorm. If you want to win $1 million, I'm not sure if you're going to have an easy time doing it, because this bracket is absolutely insane with some very unpredictable teams.
I have to agree, man. We've had some hard frontrunners in years past, but this year, I feel like it's all up in the air. These teams are going to be grueling, battling it out, trying to get to that heroic 4 and then finally win. So this is tough, man.
Well, let's take a look at the top of bracket A and start out from the top.
Absolutely. We have the #1 seed, UCI, starting it off, facing off against Indiana. Next up, Florida versus Utah, and then Johns Hopkins versus BYU Idaho, and finally UQTR versus Texas State.
This is a great start to the bracket. A team that I definitely would like to emphasize is Johns Hopkins, Panic Basket. Dunk, you and I had a chance to see them earlier this year, and I was really impressed with their macro play. And Garrosh's ability to flip those pancakes was insane. They're going to be a team to watch, but a team we definitely want to emphasize is UQTR. because I feel like that's one of the most compelling stories for this part of the bracket.
Absolutely. You can see the roster here for the Snow Frogs: Sim, Logic, Big Ben, Pandemonium, and Mesm.
This is a team that struggled against some of the top performers in this year's tournament. Laval is definitely one of those instances. I'm curious to see, Dunk, if they're going to be able to find momentum and take on some of the Titans of the round of 64.
That's going to be absolutely necessary for them to advance through this top half of Bracket A, man. At some point, if they manage to continue through this, they will have to face off against UCI coming in at that seed number 1. So they have to get over whatever nerves they have.
7-4 record is not going to allow them to get to the Heroic 4 and beyond. But I really like that they're on Infernal Shrines a lot, one of my favorite maps to cast. Says to me that they really like those team fights. And one of those players that's really good at the team fight capability is going to be Sim. This is a team-based game, but Sim has been a perennial playmaker for the Snow Frogs, and he's going to have to step it up big time in that flex role.
It's so critical for your off-tank, that flex role, to be able to look at the windows of opportunity and actually find those engages, and that is something that he does so well.
Snow Frogs definitely going to be a team to watch. I kind of feel bad for Indiana, though. Going up against UCI at the start, being the 64th seed, that's going to be quite the challenge. But in the NCAA, we've seen the 16 seed take down number 1. So you never know, man. Lightning could definitely strike for Indiana. But let's move to the bottom part of Bracket A.
All right, and on the other side, the bottom of Bracket A, we will have IUPUI versus Colorado Mines, RMU versus Missouri, Michigan versus RPI, and Buffalo against Boston U.
This is a really interesting part of the bracket for me because it features teams that we've seen in action during the regular season. RPI in particular, a team that has a lot of play in the open division. They've shown some strong performances, but they like to play these really interesting compositions. We'll see how that plays here. RMU is a team that we saw last year go pretty far, but they've had some roster changes. So I'm really curious to see if they've been able to work out some of those issues. But there's definitely a team that we want to emphasize here, Dunk.
Of course, man. We could not have this part of the bracket without talking about IUPUI, named Evil Medieval in honor of their outstanding Medivh play historically, and that's going to be Domovarian leading the charge for his team, along with Bobby Frank, Aqualad, TXZ, and Zalori.
There is a ton of pressure on this team to perform this year. They're seniors. This is their last opportunity to crown themselves Heroes of the Dorm. They play very aggressively, which is my preferred style of Heroes of the Dorm. We have an instance here, Tomb of the Spider Queen. When I saw this moment, Dunk, I was like, this is a team that can go very far this year.
Every time this team fight kept progressing, I was like, surely they're going to turn around now. Surely they're not going to keep chasing these kills. But they just knew their limits. They knew exactly how far ahead they were.
Knowing their limits is something that's going to be very key for them. Tyrael only going down at the end of that shows to me they know how to rotate, they know how to keep themselves alive and maximize the value they bring to a team fight. And they have the record to show it. Volskaya Foundry, newest Battlegrounds, always interesting. Domovarian definitely likes to play the Maev. He's going to be the player that I'm looking for the most because I feel like if he has success, the rest of the team will follow. But we've seen instances where he struggled on a hero like Gul'dan.
Definitely. I think for this team, that getting Domovarian onto one of those somewhat unique heroes that he can really leverage that unique skill he brings to the table of playing those flex heroes, that's what's going to be able to take this team far in the bracket.
IUPUI in that section of the bracket, I feel has a very good chance to make it out of that. But there's some really compelling opponents in there. Colorado School of Mines is also a team that we've seen. I was really impressed with their Maev play too. So we might see IUPUI try to ban that out pretty consistently. But let's move on over to the top of Bracket B.
Starting us off at the top of Bracket B, we have North Texas versus Akron, UCF against Wisconsin, Rochester versus Digipen Institute of Technology, and Florida State against Lords.
This is an interesting part of the bracket because there are a lot of teams that we have not seen on broadcast and we don't know about at face value. So this could be part of the bracket where we have a dark horse, we have a huge surprise where a team that no one has researched wows the audience, wows some of these top contenders, but a team that we definitely want to emphasize is going to be North Texas, the Eagles, one of the strongest performers. They've been really solid all year.
They have been doing excellent in the group stage. Calgare, Z-Fury, Arms of Gold, AKN, and Physicals have really been doing work in this tournament so far, and what's really noticeable about them is this amazing double warrior style and how they play it. They're always on the ball, fading out cooldowns on those Warriors, and then turning around when the fight looks good.
The Eagles like to play that smash mouth, in-your-face, double Warrior style that I personally love. They have those bruisers that allow a lot of opportunities for the backline assassins to do their thing. They have the record to show for it. 11-1 is insane for this tournament so far.
It's a fantastic record, and that's all because of how strong their backline is along with their front line. Z Fury and Physicals both do amazing capitalizing on the openings made by their tanks. Z Fury has amazing mechanics utilizing those moment killers like Greymane to execute low targets in those team fights and just really make the plays happen for his team.
North Texas is a team that has definitely put in the work. They have a strong work ethic. We've seen them in the open division as well. They have high expectations for themselves. But like I said, Dunk, if there can be a huge surprising upset, it definitely can come from this portion of the bracket. Teams like Wisconsin-Madison, you and I have seen them in action. They could definitely do well. Rochester, Digipin, Institute of Technology, not many people may have heard of them. Maybe they don't know about them. So we could definitely see some surprises here. But let's move over to the bottom of bracket B.
Following it up in the bottom half of bracket B, we have UBC versus UOIT, Notre Dame against UCLA, Stony Brook versus Charlotte, and CPP versus Iowa.
This is another interesting part of the bracket where we have teams that we've seen in action previously, but also teams that may have flown under the radar. I'm really looking forward to see how Stony Brook does this year. We saw them have a surprising upset in the last go-round. California, Poly Pomona, very strong team. The Pomona Ponies are definitely favored, but I want to emphasize another team, the Heroes of Notre Dame. This is a team that has impressed me. What do you got for me?
And the thing that I love about Notre Dame is they have unique drafts and they put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket is Sava. He's backed up by Emperor, Eddie Spaghetti, King Kong, and Roquefort.
Heroes of Notre Dame is a team that has made massive improvements since last year. They had members of their team that were gold in Hero League, and they've ground their way all the way up to Master. When you have that kind of commitment, you're going to have success, and we see instances of that right here. Notre Dame taking a fight to a team like IUPUI says to me that they are not intimidated at all by some of the stronger performers of this tournament.
Absolutely not, and that's what's so impressive about them. Along with this fantastic play from Sava, he really plays some unique characters in this tournament. The Kerrigan we have seen a little bit of, but the Kel'Thuzad, that is his specialty, and we saw him absolutely destroy Florida State, opening up this team fight multiple times and forcing out a ban later in this match against him. So his Kel'Thuzad is something to be feared.
Notre Dame is a team that has continuously punched above their weight class, and we'll see how they're tested going into this tournament. They have a strong record, 9-2. They definitely like to enable players like Sava with that ETC. They don't like to deal with sanctification, but Sava's definitely the star of the show here, Don.
Absolutely. They draft around him, they build their compositions around him, and I think when you have that sort of single-minded determination, when you can build the whole team around focusing on doing one thing excellently, that's what can take you far in a tournament like this.
We've now seen the left side of the bracket, but Dunk, I want to talk about predictions because I personally feel I have the inside track. Who's going to come away this year's championship title? It's going to be UCI taking on Notre Dame in the Heroic Four, and I really believe in Notre Dame's ability to take down these stronger opponents. I might be a little biased. Rutgers is from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey as well, but the Grease Trucks have done very well this year. But at the end of it, I feel like LSU, it's their year. They're going to come away this year's Heroes.
There's no arguing that LSU is a strong team, but I have to differ, man. I agree, UCI is looking strong in their quadrant, but I think North Texas has the fundamentals to make it to that Heroic Four. They've got everything I'm looking for from a team at this stage in the tournament. Meanwhile, on the other side, Laval has to be the story from the quadrant, and that means that they're going to be taking down LSU to play against UCI in the finals, though I think UCI is going to take it.
One half of the bracket down, one half to go. Environment and Source are going to be your guides for the rest of the bracket. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Heroes of the Dorm 2018 bracket reveal. My name is Verum, joined now by the Source. We saw some amazing competitors in the start of our brackets A and B. Here, and we have some fierce competitors on our side as well.
Also got some spicy names for these two brackets. We've got some of what I think are our best competitors. We've got some of our longest standing competitors on the side of the bracket, so it's going to be exciting.
And of course, we are once again pleased to reiterate that we have a location for our live finals. The Heroic Four will take place at the Blizzard Arena on Saturday, May 12th. Tickets are only $20, so be sure to pick that up. Come join us for what is a fantastic event. Students competing for their shot at fully paid college tuition. But of course, you can get involved at home as well by participating in the Bracket Challenge. This is your shot to win $10,000 if you have the best bracket. But this year, we are unveiling the ultimate Bracket Challenge. This is your shot at winning $1 million. The perfect bracket will take home $1 million if you correctly predict every game from the round of 64 onwards. You can submit that bracket by March 27th at heroesofthedorm.com/brackets. Ron, it's a pretty slim chance, but there's a chance.
I don't have a lot of faith that anybody's going to pull it off with how good the teams are across the board this year, but maybe.
But maybe there is a chance indeed to pull that out and secure $1 million. It's always a blast. We're going to be submitting brackets as well, just so you guys can see what we're doing. But of course, we have the rest of the round of 64, the brackets to reveal. So let's hop into the top half of the C bracket and see which teams are competing. Starting us off, it is the number 2 seed. It is Laval up against York, a great Canadian battle. ASU, Toronto, Rutgers and Georgia, Tennessee and U Alberta. So many fantastic teams in the top half of C.
Yeah, some familiar names. ASU, the former winners. Toronto, we saw them last year. Rutgers is back again, as well as Tennessee. We don't have the same roster from them, but maybe they'll surprise.
Yes, indeed. Tennessee, you know, Rafflecopter last year had some strong performances. But we actually have some new faces bringing to the fore and reiterating some old stories, which is pretty cool. Laval, of course, is probably the favorite coming into this as the number 2 seed, but there are some teams that could potentially give them some problems. One of those teams is actually Rutgers, the Grease Trucks. They're a team that I want to talk a little bit more about here. They have some veterans on their squad, joined by some new faces. But what I love about this team is the fact that they play such a calm, calculated, aggressive style. They execute high-skill plays, but they do it with such grace.
They also play a very, very, almost conservative yet comfortable style. Yes, this is an aggressive play, but they're walking in there with that double warrior. They're able to easily just control the space as a team with all of that tankiness. And it's a slightly slower style of play. It's not like they jumped in there with a massive skill. They just kind of walked up.
Yeah, and what's cool about this team is the fact that they've known each other for so long. The synergy is there. They're a 10-2 record right now. The top pick is Blaze. They have used Blaze beautifully time and time again. So one of the things they are really strong with is that double warrior composition. And I don't mean like warrior bruiser. No, I mean double warrior. I mean Blaze, Muradin, ETC, Johanna, a lot of these strong warrior players. And one of them is this man right here. Hi, I'm Rick. His ETC play has been phenomenal. This guy has been making plays all season long. I have to give huge props to him. As a whole team, they are super excited to come into this. They haven't had as much of a chance to practice as they'd like, but they're putting the work in now. And of course, they've got a great coach in their friend Chad Playa, who's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes for them. One of the things we don't talk about enough, I think, are the coaches here in Heroes of the Dorm, these players putting in that work to help out the teams behind the scenes. Rutgers looking super solid. But of course, let's take another look back at the teams here in that C bracket. Ron, what are your final thoughts?
I kind of have Laval coming out of this bracket. I think that they had a great dominant performance up until the game against UCI. Grease Trucks could surprise. They could sneak their way through, make some trouble. It's a difficult thing to do with the style of play that they do. It takes a lot of confidence to play that double warrior because you need very strong damage. And they put a lot of that in mages, which is uncommon.
It is indeed. ASU, of course, the 2016 champions. We'll see how they perform here as well. But let's move on to the bottom half of the C bracket here. UConn up against McGill, Waterloo up against WPI, Fullerton, Houston, Minnesota, and Georgia Tech. Again, so many strong schools here. The competition has never been as fierce as it has been this year. UConn, the Tricky Turtles, a name of old, some veterans there as well. So many good rosters, but who here is really standing out for you?
Gotta be Minnesota.
Minnesota.
And it's for a couple of reasons. One, they've managed to claw themselves into the 7th rank, but they've got a couple of interesting hero picks. We got to see them earlier on. We saw them up against University of Missouri Full Send. They've got 2 Lunara players. They like to mix it up a little bit. Yes, they can play kind of more of the standard strategies. They also like to play a lot of heavy warrior, and they've got 2 main styles. Dive, follow, and burst in kind of a frontline plus a Lucio, and then block, silence, and burst. That kind of defensive front line with the Stu Cobb to silence up the enemy and then add in that mage. They also very much favor these mages.
Yeah, speaking of mages, Dr. Frost really pulling out a lot of these great mage players, as well as sort of that standard carry style that we see Greymane being a favorite pick here for him. He's often pulling out a lot of these versatile ranged assassins. What I love about the Team GG over in Minnesota, which is also fun fact, stands for the Golden Gophers, you know, gotta love that, is the fact that they have such a standard composition. They have that support, that warrior, melee assassin, ranged assassin, plus that mage. They're really standing that quintessential composition here. But Dr. Frost, he grinds Hero League nonstop. He's been really putting in the work. Is definitely a player to watch here for this team. And they also, they want to give a shout out to their coach as well, Devo, their sub, who's put in a lot of work. Despite the fact he's a third-year pharmacy student, has been balancing school and putting in the work for Heroes of the Dorm. So much fantastic play coming out from them. I have high expectations for Minnesota because they're like, you know, talking to them, I said, we're a school you might not know too much about, but we want to come in here and surprise you. We want to take games up against these top teams. So they're saying, don't count us out, and that is the spirit that I like to see. Let's take a look at this bracket one more time, though, and see exactly how it's shaping up there. So Minnesota up against Georgia Tech. I expect them to go all the way up against UConn. I think I actually have them coming out of this bracket. They're looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I favor UConn a little bit. I'm from the Northeast. Minnesota, though, it's interesting. Between Dr. Frost and Subnova, Dr. Frost plays kind of that standard, that Greymane, that Hanzo, but, you know, being able to lean back on Subnova in those mages isn't something a lot of teams have, and it makes things interesting pick-wise for them. Similar to Rutgers. Both of these squads can kind of play a little bit more versatile when it comes to being able to draft, and that can start to inch you ahead when you get to round 8.
Yeah, speaking of that, you know, let's take a look at the rest of our bracket here. We got to see what teams are advancing here in the the top part of D here. We got Kentucky up against UMBC, Maryland up against Penn, George Mason facing off against Texas A&M, and UCSD going head-to-head against Nebraska, Omaha, Kentucky. Such a strong powerhouse roster this year. They're doing work so far, but a lot of really solid rosters in this part of the bracket.
So before we get too far into this, I call Bracket C Canada's Revenge. I call Bracket D the Bracket of Destiny, Legacy, Do You Believe? Because we've got Kentucky in this upper half. These guys made it to the top 4. We knew nothing about them last year, but interestingly enough, they're up against UMBC in their first match. And if you guys have been paying attention to March Madness basketball, yes, March Madness basketball, we had the first seed 16 beat seed 1 in the history of March Madness. The first time it's ever happened in the NCAA championship. Maybe UMBC can bring out a little bit of magic, but I do have to favor Kentucky. They're a great squad.
Yeah, they're looking pretty solid here as well. I mean, Kentucky, you know, we got to talk about them. Scratch'em, Kwanzaa, a veteran player here as well. They've just been really pulling out all the stops this year.
I'm excited to see when we get to see them, up against some of these stronger squads. They're likely to meet people, like LSU. They're likely to meet a bunch of these other strong legacy squads we'll get into in the bottom half of the bracket. But these guys, they came out of nowhere. They've got that competitive LAN experience. They've been on that scene. They get there again. I see them definitely performing. The question is can they get through what is our most competitive Heroes of the Dorm?
Yes, indeed. I mean, we talk about, we're on our 4th year. Teams are only getting better, but they are 11-1 going into this Tyrael. Such a powerful warrior, that filling kind of that bruiser role, but also enabling that melee assassin play. Such a high skill hero. I think is really indicative of what this squad is all about. Hanzo coming in here from Kwanzaa, 11-1 with him so far. Talk a little bit more about this player.
So interestingly enough, Kwanzaa actually has incredibly high hero damage overall. In the top 30-ish players from what I was looking at. but very low siege damage. He doesn't hit buildings, he only hits heroes.
He only goes face.
And this is across a wide number of games. There's also some scrim data in there, but it's interesting to think about how they prioritize and how he thinks about what he has to get done on the team. It is to take down the heroes.
Yes, it is to get those takedowns, to get his team ahead. It is to win those team fights. That really says a lot about the mindset of these teams. But let's go back once again to this bracket and take one final look here. Coming out of this, who do you expect to take the W? Top half of bracket.
It's gotta be Kentucky.
It's gotta be
Kentucky. I'm gonna pray for the sake of the story that UMBC pulls out some serious magic. But it's likely to be Kentucky. Penn could make some possible waves. Texas A&M, we've seen them before. UCSD.
UCSD's got a good roster.
Yeah, they've got a good roster. Triton Esports has shown up in just general Blizzard.
Great esports school.
Exactly. They've got great Blizzard teams across the board. I was a little depressed last year when they went up against UCI, and I had them going all the way to the top 4, and they let me down. I don't know
this year they might surprise you.
I can't believe just yet, but maybe they'll make a believer out of me yet.
Well, we're going to see here. Let's head down to the bottom half of bracket D here, the final part of our round of 64 bracket. We have Cal Berkeley up against Ottawa, my alma mater. We have Ohio State up against Lehigh. We have Utah Valley up against Carleton, the other Ottawa team. LSU up against Illinois. LSU, the from last year, coming out here to make a statement. Whoa, this is going to be interesting, but they have a tough bracket ahead of them.
This is the bracket of destiny. It's difficult for a lot of these teams. We've got LSU, runner-up from last year's, the uncrowned kings. We've had that basically be the trend. If you guys are unfamiliar with Heroes of the Dorm, the runner-up team from any given year has won the next year. It went Cal Berkeley with ASU, it went ASU with UTA, and now LSU played UTA last year. One would think that they would do it, but they are not going to have an easy road. They have to go through the winners of Heroes of the Dorm 2015, the first Heroes of the Dorm. It's not going to be easy. It's a different squad, but it's the Golden Mishes.
So much legacy. Let's talk about, UC Berkeley. Tell us about this roster. Obviously, that 2015 win will always be in the back of their minds. What is this current squad looking for?
So these guys are not the same squad. This whole squad has moved on, but they carry the weight of having that championship. They want to try and bring it home. This is the best that they have looked. They have had a pretty good season so far. Their only regional loss was to UCI. So they had a very tough bracket. The West Coast, Southern California is always great for collegiate esports. There's a lot of schools that are willing to put the effort behind their players. And these guys, 9-3 is a pretty solid record overall. They play pretty much everything that they need to in terms of a wide variety in draft. They have some solid roles. The only question is are they going to be able to put up or shut up? Can they clutch out the wins when it matters?
Yeah, and prioritizing the support in Malfurion as well. She kind of shows a little more conservative in that play. But let's talk about Tevin. A lot of talk about the Warrior players because they are so critical in getting these teams in a good position, getting that initiation. ETC is a fantastic hero to do that. A great KDA on that. Cognitive science. He's going to be doing that thinking, looking for those 300 IQ plays on that ETC. Going to try and put his team in a good position and put his team in a bad position.
It's interesting how much we've seen the Blaze ETC come up, but these guys also play an interesting strategy of they facilitate dive, and then they also have a counter dive strategy. They play an interesting amount of Leoric as well in their solo lane, so they're willing to take some slow counter engage compositions as well. There's a couple of options for them, but really, truly, this is the time of the Warriors. We talk about Assassins all the time, but Blaze has just changed the meta
Warrior
so far.
is so strong right now. We're seeing so many teams bringing it out, and for good reason. It is so potent, so powerful. Let's recap the bottom half of bracket here. One last look. Who do you have coming out of this bracket?
Cal Berkeley is going to play LSU. That's how it's going to end. But right now I've got LSU edging it out. I think that they will buckle down when the time comes. They haven't had the best rankings. I mean, we would expect them to have been a little bit higher up. They came in at 6th. They've shown up in Open. I hope that Cal Berkeley can make some waves. I don't think Ottawa is going to be able to take them down. I'm sorry, Paul.
I have faith in my friend Novus. He's going to do it. No, I agree. I think LSU is probably going to come out on top here. I definitely have them coming out of this as well, and actually advancing pretty far into the tournament as a whole. You know, I have good expectations here for LSU. They've got a really strong roster, a lot of super veteran players. But speaking of predictions, let's take a look at what we casters think is going to unfold here. These are my predictions here, starting off in the top half with A. I have UCI taking that. In B, North Texas, Laval, and LSU. I have Laval, the French-Canadian team, our first Canadian team in the Heroic Four, advancing all the way to the grand finals to face UCI, sort of a recap of our regional play. And once again, I have UCI taking it in that Heroic Four. They have just looked so strong, and having an infrastructure so good for them. I have high hopes for UCI. Braun, what are you thinking?
I agree with you when it comes to Canada's revenge. They will show up in the finals. I've got UCI coming out of their bracket. Cal Poly Pomona coming up over UNT. I expect the Eagles to show up in that battle, the battle of the Eagles versus the Ponies. Not sure how that would go out, how that would go down in reality, but I think that they'll make it to the top 4. And I've also got Kentucky coming out over LSU. The surprise is last year. I'm going to put my faith in them. We'll see whether or not the faithful will be rewarded. But I also still have UCI coming out of the head. The performance against Laval was incredibly dominant. Yeah. Maybe the Canadians prove me wrong, but I think that this squad from UCI, this may actually be their year.
And of course, you at home can participate by joining in on our bracket challenge, the winner of which, with the best bracket, will take home $10,000. But this year, we are pleased to announce the ultimate bracket challenge, your shot at winning $1 million. If you can get a perfect bracket, predict every game from the round of 64 onwards, all the way to those grand finals, you can take home $1 million. Be sure to get that in by March 27th at heroesofthedorm.com/brackets. And of course, our Heroic Four, we've been talking about it all show long. It is at the Blizzard Arena on Saturday, May 12th. Currently the home of the Overwatch League and such a fantastic venue. Tickets are only $20. I am so very excited. The energy at these events is always phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining us for the bracket reveal here for Heroes of the Dorm 2018. We are going to be back next week on the 28th at 5 p.m. Pacific. It is going to be the start of the round of 64. I'm super hyped. The matches are going to be insane. Be sure to join us then. As I said, Wednesday, March 28th. Braun, these matches are going to be nuts.
These matches are going to be fantastic.
These games.
I am incredibly excited because even with all the predictions we're going to do, even with all the research we're going to put in, we still don't know. And if anybody manages to win the ultimate bracket challenge, I don't know if you'd ever want the notebook, but I'm going to give the notebook to that victor. You'll get all of my bad handwriting, all of the drafts, and my random scribblings and notes. It'll be fun.
It will indeed. We will see you next week on March 28th. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for joining us for the bracket reveal for Heroes of the Dorm 2018.